they're holding themselves to a way higher standard. You have high schoolers now getting plastic surgery. Like, people's outfits nowadays are like in the thousands range. But nowadays it's like these kids are already coming out the womb with designer clothes and looking perfect, getting their makeup done professionally, like spending hundreds and hundreds of dollars to get their makeup done for the first day of school. Like, they don't even have a crusty phase anymore. You know, like, I'm a little jealous. I had to go through a couple crusty phases. Hey everyone, it's Bree. Welcome back to my channel. I'm back in another video, and I am back with another tweet that I saw, and I figured this would be an interesting topic to cover on the channel. And so this tweet was made by Dej Rambo, and she said, "I'm just glad I don't have to go to high school in this generation with designer. It was hard keeping up with Hollister and Abercrombie." And I felt this. It is crazy. So I think this tweet came about because there were some other tweets that had went around where basically a lot of high school, like freshmen, high school students, were basically getting their makeup done professionally for their first day of school, and it threw a lot of people off because they're just like, whoa, like, what are we doing? Like, it's high school, right? And you know, when you think back to, well, depending on how old you are, when you think back to, you know, your first day of high school, like, yes, of course everybody, you know, wanted to look their best. You know, people had their first day of school outfits picked out. You know, you also had to get a brand new pair of sneakers. And, you know, like, you know, everybody had that experience where, you know, they try to put on their best fits or whatever the case may be. But high school students today, I think they definitely they're definitely on a whole nother level when it comes to how they appear. Like, again, like, a lot of them are coming to school with full faces of makeup, which, I mean, that's always been a thing in terms of girls wearing a bunch of makeup to school. I think they're just a little bit better at doing it now, with all these tutorials and stuff. But yeah, no, it's like, you know, it's a thing. Like, you know, you have your first day of school outfit together. You have your hair done, you know, whether it's, you know, a fresh haircut, or, you know, you came fresh out of the salon to get it done. And then, yeah, a little bit of makeup here and there, new shoes, new book bag, new school supplies. Like, y'all know how it is. But I don't know, it seems like today, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with this necessarily, but I do think, like, you know, with the newer generations, I do think it's definitely, um they're holding themselves to a way higher standard, to where, I don't know. And I think social media definitely plays a role in it too, because I think social media and just the way people present themselves on the internet has had a lot of influence on how, you know, the younger generations carry themselves. And so I think everyone feels pressure to, like, look, you know, to look perfect, to look like how other people look like on Instagram. And I think in this new era of, you know, everyone trying to be a social media influencer, and, you know, trying to get the most likes and the most, you know, whatever the case may be, I think nowadays high school kids feel pressure to look like that, to look like, you know, I don't want to keep using this example, but this is the most commonly used example. But, you know, like the Kardashians, like, you have, you know, a lot of high school girls wanting to replicate what the Kardashians look like. And so, you know, now you got you have high schoolers now getting plastic surgery, which I think is insane, and I do think that's a little extreme, but that's just my personal opinion. But yeah, like she said, like, people are coming in designer clothes. People are spending, like people's outfits nowadays are like in the thousands range. You know, in terms of how much money their outfits cost. And listen, I remember those days of Hollister and Abercrombie. Like, I never got into Abercrombie like that. I guess I know it's essentially the same thing, just different, just a different name. But I never really wore Abercrombie like that. I think mostly because it that store like wasn't around me. But neither was Hollister. And I did wear Hollister a lot. Like Hollister, I would always like not always, but like like for birthdays and Christmases or back to school shopping, I would always have my mom order some Hollister because it was in. Same thing with Aeropostale. Everybody know, like, I think everybody um around my age group, we all had a Hollister and Aeropostale era. Whether it was because I mean Aeropostale for me, Aeropostale was popular when I was in middle school and high school. It started to die out a little bit towards the end of high school, but definitely middle school, early high school, Hollister was like the thing. And yeah, a lot of people couldn't even afford that. Cuz for me too, right? Like I by no means come from a super well off family. I don't my like I come from a single parent household and my mom does pretty well for herself, but she's not like rich. But I feel like growing up, I always had like nice clothes. Like I never wore designer cuz I'm not into designer, but also we don't have that kind of money. But no, like I would wear a lot of like name brand stuff, like again Hollister, Aeropostale, Justice, and then when I was a kid, like I would wear like the Children's Place. Like I did wear a lot of name brand stuff, but I also wore a lot of other stuff too. But because I wore so much of like the name brand stuff, I feel like people judged me for that, and they kind of looked down on me for that because people felt like I don't know, like I don't want to say jealous, but I mean kids do experience a little bit of jealousy sometimes when they see someone else doing, a little bit better than them. And so I always feel like I got judged a lot because I was living well and my mom could afford to get me certain things and buy me certain things. Even to the point where like, if I had like a really nice Christmas, like I would want to share what I got for Christmas with my friends, but over time I had to stop doing that because people would kind of get like in their feelings about it, or they wouldn't want to talk about it, or they just were not receptive to me even talking about anything that I would receive, whether it was for again birthday or Christmas. And so, but I did wear a lot of Hollister, and it's crazy too, right? Because Hollister was always looked at as like clothes for white people. And so of course then I got that criticism of like, oh, you look white, or you trying to I got a whole lot of that growing up. Just the whole like I act white or whatever the case may be, just because I didn't talk a certain way or act a certain way. I don't so much get that now because you know, I, that's a whole nother conversation. I'm not even gonna get into that. But basically, no, I definitely agree with her on this. Like it is crazy that kids nowadays they don't have that awkward stage anymore. They don't have that stage where they have the bad makeup and too much eyeshadow and mixed matching clothes. Like they don't have that anymore. It used to be you had to like grow out of that, like but nowadays it's like these kids are already coming out the womb with designer clothes and looking perfect, having a full face of makeup. Now the whole thing with the makeup thing, right? Because again, like there was stuff going around about girls getting their makeup done professionally, like spending hundreds and hundreds of dollars to get their makeup done for the first day of school. And so then of course the question came up of like, well, how does that work? Like do they come like super early in the morning? Like how does that work? And people were saying that it was on like some people were saying that they had their child wake up like 2-3 hours before they were supposed to go to school to get their makeup done, which again I think is so ridiculous. Like just my personal opinion, like yeah, do what you want for your kid and whatever the case may be, but to have them, and I'm not saying force, but I'm just saying for your kid to even want to get up 3 hours early, like we're talking like 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, maybe even 2 o'clock in the morning, depending on if your child rides the school bus. You want your child to get up at 3-4 in the morning to get their makeup done for the first day of school? I don't know, maybe call me lazy, but I would not have wanted to go through all that. I was already tired enough getting up at 5 o'clock to get ready for school, let alone 3 o'clock in the morning to get my makeup done for school. No, but a lot of people were doing that, and then there were some girls that were getting their makeup done the night before and going to sleep in it, which anyone that has any sense of, properly taking care of your skin, that's like a big no-no. Like, you never go to sleep in your makeup. I don't care if it's freshly done or if you just did it. You are never supposed to go to sleep in makeup. It can literally cause so much harm to your face to have makeup on for that long and to be sleeping in it and to be, now it's getting on your pillow and it's, like it's just it's a lot. Um but also too, like, again, just with how things are today, I'm not surprised that kids today feel so much pressure to upkeep what they see on social medias, and so they feel the need to have their full face and makeup done and have on, designer clothes. Like, I'm not surprised that this is where we're at. But honestly too, it's like, because if I was, because again, I had the opposite problem where, again, I wasn't wearing designer clothes, I wasn't wearing anything expensive, but I would wear nice stuff, and I did get judged a lot because a lot of the people around me, um they didn't have the same financial means and they weren't able to wear a lot of that stuff, so I got a lot of side eyes for that. It would be interesting being a high schooler nowadays, and, like, let's say, like, you're the kid that's still wearing the Hollister and the Abercrombie and all that, but then all your classmates are over here wearing Gucci and designer. I do wonder how that would make me feel if I was on that side, because everybody can't be showing up in designer, not at no, like, random public school in a regular suburban area. Like, because when I think of, like, high schoolers and designer, I think of, like, celebrity kids or kids that grew up in, like, really expensive areas, like, I think of, like, Beverly Hills, or, like, I don't know, like, that's what I think of. But just everyday normal regular kids going to high school wearing this stuff and doing all of this is like, I don't know. But then also too, you have to think about, like, with us being so engulfed in social media nowadays and everybody having their phones out, I wonder too if kids feel like, at any moment in time I could be on someone's TikTok or I could be on someone's Instagram story, and so I always have to look a certain kind of way. Like, I don't know, it's interesting. It's interesting to see how a lot of these kids are holding themselves up to such a high standard. Like, they don't even have a crusty phase anymore. Like, I'm a little jealous. I had to go through a couple crusty phases to where, I'm looking back at photos and I'm like, bro, what was I thinking? Um, but yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. It's an interesting conversation topic for sure. But yeah, let me know what you guys thoughts in the comments down below about, kids today, just off rip, just coming in again looking like, the Kardashians, or looking like whoever. Let me know what you guys thoughts are in the comments down below about these kids in designer and full full faces of makeup. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you guys give it a big thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys in the next video.